The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
Hold up, hashtag heels for life. Wanna welcome everybody, yeah, we gotta get it hype. Hey, every week talking wrestling, we get into it. Current events, even guests that we're interviewing. Hosted by Chris, Kid USA, and Nappy Boy. Shout out to Ziggy, put the smack down, you can't ignore. The best you gon' find anywhere online. Tell the competition they about to get clothesline. Hold up, hashtag heels for life. Let's go.
This is hashtag Heels for Life Wrestling Podcast, episode 187, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. I'm Mr. Teambringit. That's Mr. A-Bid. Welcome to our newest co-host, A-Bid, and Mr. Red Flag's down there. How you guys doing?
Man, it was like I seen you yesterday.
You're right.
No way, man. Jeez, man. How y'all doing, man?
Man.
You know, I'm digging the goatee, you know what I mean? I like it, sir. Hey,
I know, I'm bald-headed now.
You know, I mean, cut your hair off, no, I mean, you ain't blonde no more. I appreciate it.
You're not blonde anymore?
No, you ain't blonde no more. Yeah.
Oh my God. So get the hell out of here. What happened?
Team bald head, I'm telling you right now, man.
What's it, the Celts in blue?
I am done.
Okay. Everybody, before we start, first, we need you to give a thumbs up and comment on this video. Then I need you to subscribe. Then I need you to hit that notification bell so you can get news and rumors from hashtag Heels for Life Wrestling Podcast exclusively on YouTube, Facebook, and every streaming site available. So tonight, everyone, we have a special guest, everyone. We've been, number one, shout out to DJ Red Flags. He found this individual on Twitter, and he brought him to my attention. He does wonders for the wrestling community, more importantly in New York City, which is one of the premier wrestling cities in America. He does great things with the kids. He has his own wrestling club. He's a songwriter. He's a singer. I mean, he done phenomenal things. So, DJ Red Flag, like what made you like bring him to us? Like how did you find him? Like how was you able to get him?
Honestly, it was I just tripped. I was running through the woods, tripped and fell, run away from Michael Myers, fell down. I looked up and I saw this guy named Victor. And I was like, okay, whatever, followed him back. And then I started seeing he's working with the youth, the inner city youth, and which is kind of big, especially in New York City. I'm from Brooklyn, so for me to see that, I was like, oh, okay, somebody's actually doing something for the kids. And then to see it was more towards wrestling, which I have a huge passion for wrestling. Mm-hmm. And so I started to look through his stuff, and next thing you know, I was like, holy crap, like, this guy's trying to get he has a GoFundMe right now for his wrestling club to get them to WrestleMania next year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when he gets to here, I do want to have him talk about that. And if you're willing, able, it is Sundays, everybody get their 10% in, the tithe and offerings, and go help out and go pass offering plate to help them out to get them to WrestleMania, because it is the work that he's doing. It's amazing, because I wish that I had something like this as a child growing up. I wish I had an outlet to let my nerdism run free. Yeah, just lost it.
Come on.
Yeah,
just like
seriously.
Yeah.
It just like the work that he's doing, man, with his kids. Like, they watch matches, and I'm not gonna.
Yes, save it. Let him.
I'm not gonna give no spoilers. I'm excited. I'm really excited about this. But when I brought to Chris's attention, and Chris was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Yo, just check. Don't ask no question. Just check this out. Go look. go look. And then he got back to me. He's all, you need to talk to him. Can you make it happen? Like, I reached out to him and then instantly, boom, hit me back. I was like, yo, Chris, we got it. And then
and the rest is history. So without further ado, welcome our guest this evening, Victor Taylor Perry. Hello, Victor. How you doing?
What's up, guys? Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it.
We ain't done with you yet.
No, we're not done. No, you're gonna get your flowers tonight.
Hey, put your seatbelt on, strap up. It's gonna be all right, brother.
Exactly. So okay. So like number one, when we have new guests on, what we like to do is we like to do like the icebreaker. You know, we already know what your name is. You know, just tell us a little bit of a background about you.
Yeah. So I am a middle school teacher in Brooklyn, New York. I teach 6th grade ELA, which is reading and writing. I've been teaching for this is my 6.5 year. Yeah, it's been a long time. And I also am a singer-songwriter.
What part of Brooklyn?
Crown Heights.
I'm from Bed-Stuy, so
Nice.
Yeah, I went to school in IS-68. That's over there in Buildersea, over in Canarsie.
Okay, cool beans. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So is that like the Brooklyn Bridge or something?
Oh,
like that?
no.
You gonna get us shot. You gonna get us shot on live television from these people. They waiting for us.
No. So he's in Crown Heights right there. I went to school. I graduated from W.E.B. Du Bois over there on Eastern Parkway.
I know that's cool.
Yeah, I went there. I went to South Shore. So yeah, I mean, I'm real familiar with like Crown Heights area. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna disclose into my my past life on live air, but no, I'm real familiar with that, and especially with that area too. That area is, I mean, it's not sunshines and rainbows over there at all.
Not even.
So let's kind of well, number one, who inspired you to be this wrestling fan, and like what made you start this off?
You mean like becoming a fan of pro wrestling?
Mm-hmm. Pro wrestling.
It was random. It was a random Saturday night. I was just channel surfing and came across Velocity. And I believe it was Brian Kendrick and Paul London in a tag team match. And I said, oh, this looks cool. And so I have a twin. And so I showed him, I was like, hey, look at this. And then he was like, oh, I've been watching wrestling. And I was like, well, why have you not told me anything? And he was like, I didn't think you'd like it. And so then we started watching it like on Mondays, because he told me like he had it down pat. He knew it came on Mondays. And I believe it was Thursdays at one time for SmackDown. And I saw Victoria on a Monday Night Raw episode and fell in love. My name is Victor. My mom's name is Victoria. Her name is Victoria. Instantly connected. And then before I knew it, it was just like I started seeing more people that I liked. I love Randy Orton. I remember him in the he wasn't even wrestling when I watched it. He was doing like the news thing. I think because he had been injured. And so I was like, this dude is on fire when he wrestles. And then he ended up being the legend killer. Thought it was great. And so from that point on, really 2002, 2003 was when it was like, those are my formative years with pro wrestling, WWE especially.
And how old are you?
28.
Really? Okay. AB, you acted like you wanted to say something. Did you want to?
It was simple. So you've been teaching for, you said 6 years?
Mm-hmm.
So you've been teaching since you were 22. What kept you, like, have you just had a passion for education, or like what made you want to be a teacher? And you teaching the young, and I know teaching is a very thankless job, one of the many ones. So thank you for doing that, for spreading the culture and being a good teacher for the young. So just wanted to thank you for that. But I just wanted to know what inspired you to be a teacher and get into the educational field.
Nothing inspired me.
All right.
Oh, okay.
At least he's honest.
Right. It was not something that was in my plan. My 5-year plan from high school and my 10-year plan from college. Teaching was never in that. It just happened. I used to do a lot of music as far as like working behind the scenes. So I worked at Sony Music, worked at Epic Records. I was an assistant for Aaron Reed, L.A. Reid's son. So like I did the whole nine, like working with Future, different artists at Epic Fifth Harmony when they were a thing. And I loved it. And so when I got out of college, I thought, this is my life. This is what I'm going to be. This is what's going to be what I'm going to do for my entire life. And things didn't pan out. And I'm from the South. I'm from Georgia. I'm from a small town. And I was just disappointed. And my mom and we had like exchange of words. I'll never forget it. And it was like a wake-up call. She was like, I didn't send you to Morehouse College to get this expensive degree, and you have honors, and you've done all this work just to sit here in my house and be upset and be depressed. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna be out of the house in 2 weeks. And so I went on Google and was like, what's the quickest job you can get in New York City that pays well? And teaching came up. And so resume. Like I literally, it was on Saturday night. Put in my resume. That Monday, I got a call from the recruitment office. They were like, "Hey, we saw your resume. It looks great. I just want to know, like, what are you wanting to teach?" I said, anything besides math. And so they're like, "Great, we have an offer for a school. I ain't gonna tell you the city yet. They're like, we have an offering for the school. So we'll get you in contact with the principal." And the principal, they called me. And they're like, "Yeah, we'll pay for your trip to come up here, you do your interview." And the school was in Brownsville. So I'm like excited because I'm like, I know nothing about New York.
That's not where somebody want to go.
Now, what is wrong with Brownsville?
All right. So I'm from Bed-Stuy. I'm from Bed-Stuy, and Bed-Stuy is known as Bed-Stuy Do or Die, home of Biggie J.
Oh.
But then Brownsville is home of MOP, Brownsville, home of the Brave, Annie Up. And Brownsville is like, when the street lights come on, if you're not from there, you just don't go.
You don't go to Brownsville.
It's the home of Yerp. Like it's the home of Yerp.
You just don't go. And I'm telling you right now, I mean, every neighborhood, every city has their the places that you don't go. But I'm telling you right now, we come down to Brooklyn, there's certain spots that if you're not known, you don't know nobody there, you have no kin there, you just don't go. I'm sorry, it just don't. And Brownsville is one of those places. Brownsville is just literally one of those places you just don't go.
Yeah, and I had to learn the hard way because I got there, got the job, and moved to New York. And I'm from the South, so I have street smarts, but I have them now for sure. I'm good. I'm hip. But I was nowhere near where I should have been for Brownsville. And so I'll never forget, I was dressed down. Like I had on this expensive outfit from, at the time, it was a store, Topman. It's called Topman. I had this pea coat, this caramel pea coat, these plaid and blue-green checkered pants that were really loud, and a green turtleneck. So I was looking fire. And I'm walking literally in our school's playground, minding my own business, and this guy tries to rob me. And that's when I was like, oh, this is real. Like, I'm immune to New York. And so that's what got me in check with the reality that this is my new reality. I'm working and teaching in an environment that I'm not familiar with, a dangerous environment. But then it also helped me be a much better teacher in the classroom, because it taught me to have street smarts, but also be hard, but also be caring, but also very much hard in the classroom, so that the kids know that I ain't a joke. I'm here to teach them. They're here to listen. It's that simple. Anything else we can build and we can have as an extra of Mr. Perry. But if we're not learning, I'm not doing my job. And so like I'm thankful for my first 4 years of teaching in Brownsville. It definitely made me the teacher that I am today.
So it seems like you had like a rough time when you got to New York. So you mentioned the kids. So when you say like the teaching part, so how does let's kind of break it down a little bit, then we'll do the video with you, the class, and Sasha Banks. But the other part, like, how did the wrestling part come in for you? Like, where did that originate from?
So that didn't happen in Brownsville. That happened, like I said, that happened at my new school that's in Crown Heights. And I wasn't even watching wrestling. That's the thing. Like, when I was doing music, my whole priority, my whole life changed after high school. Like, my everything changed. It was all music. So I was into anything music related. But then when the pandemic hit in 2020, I had nothing, home all day, chilling. And so my brother, he kept up with wrestling throughout, like, didn't stop. Like, he just continued. And so he kept telling me about it, and he would name drop names. And I'm like, I know you. Like, I don't have a frame of reference for somebody. He'd say Sasha Banks. I'm like, I don't know who that is. He'd say Finn Balor. I don't know who that is. Like, and so, like, when I tuned and turned on wrestling that's during the pandemic, the first person I saw was Sasha Banks. And she had 2 belts. And I was like, so this is who my brother's talking about. I was like, she looks fire. And then I seen her character. I was like, wait, women on the mic like this? When I last left, they were still doing bra and panty matches. Like, it was. So I was like, wait, pause. So I then started researching. So I would watch the live programming, but then I'd go back throughout the week because my brother explained to me about WWE Network at the time. This is before they had Peacock. And I would go back and just rewatch everything and learn everything. And I was just like, what in the world has happened with wrestling? It's changed so much. And it became a part of me quickly. Like, it didn't take long for me to fall back into it because it was a brand new product from the product that I last left in 2009. Like, it was a brand new product.
So it was just like something that you just fell in love with. It was just like real organic, and you wanted to teach the younger generation, like, hey, you should get into wrestling and all that good stuff. So I guess my question
that happened. That was random though. So, like, I'd never connected with my kids with wrestling. It wasn't until this past year, 2021, SummerSlam actually had happened. And that was the first time I had talked about it in my lessons. I was just talking about the Bianca, Becky squash, and how, like, we have to always work harder to get to where we were supposed to be. And then even then, it's not enough. It was just a lot that I was speaking about in my intros to my lessons. And then, so I guess kids were picking up on it, and Survivor Series started to come around. And I was like, I saw an Instagram post where it said Bianca was having a meet and greet in New York. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to that. And one of the little kids that was sitting at because I have a desk, they were sitting at my desk, like his desk was right there. And he was like, I like Bianca Belair. And I was like, what? Go back to work. Like, he was like, no, for real, Mr. Perry, I like Bianca Belair. And I was like, all right, you serious? He was like, yeah. I was like, I'm gonna call your mom. I'm gonna take you to meet her. And so,
wow,
I took him. So he didn't go to Survivor Series because I already bought my ticket. Then it was 2 days. Survivor Series was in New York on Sunday. Raw was on Monday. So on Monday, we went and met Bianca, and they had a raffle, like, for like the thousands of fans that were there. Like, if you win, you get a ticket to Raw. We ended up winning. Like, we were the first 3 to win. And yeah, it was God. It was all God. And so I got to take him to Raw. And so we had the best time. I got to experience wrestling. It was my second show I've ever been to. The first was being Survivor Series, and then this one. And then I got to experience it with him. And then so the next day, he went back and started bragging. like to all the kids. Like he got to go to Raw, da 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 da. Now all of a sudden, all the kids watch wrestling. I'm like, what?
That is dope. Oh my God.
I was like, if I start a club, like if I do this for real and like we build it out, would y'all join me? And the kids said, yeah, they joined. And so that was the birth of it. It was November 2021. Yep.
Wow.
So, you want to? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Next question. Being from New York, knowing the struggles as a kid in New York, and the outside world and the stuff that these kids see on a regular day basis, and having wrestling as an outlet, as you're teaching them and they come into the club, what are some of the things that you hear, like for them, like be able to escape that part of their lives just for that time being with you in the wrestling club? I mean, like how's that transition been? Because in that area, we're so used, we were taught, if you're not a drug dealer, you're not a ball player, you're not a rapper, you're nothing. You know what I mean? So giving them that outlet for being in a wrestling club, what have you seen that's been like the transition from them coming from the outside world into the wrestling club? What have you, like, if you can like elaborate or talk about that, because I know that's big, and I know that's something that you, in a sense, do take home with you when it's done over with.
So it's bigger than the wrestling club. It's my classroom. I'm authentically myself, and what I'm interested in and what I like, I wear it on my sleeves for my kids. So like they see a black man, young, smart, went to college, is doing well for himself, happy. And these are the things that makes him happy. And he's okay with it not being like those things that you named, those negative things. I think that's the best representation that I can give for my kids. And so when you're in Mr. Perry's classroom, it's a safe place. It's a space for you to discover what you like. It's a space for you to discover what you dislike. It's a space to challenge. Like I want kids to challenge each other and also challenge me. But it's also very safe. And so I think I pride myself on that. Like even when I was in Brownsville teaching, I used to wear, and you can see it on my Instagram, flashy suits. I'm talking about, that's why I love Seth Rollins, because the stuff that he wears, classroom, literally. Like I have suits where it's like I have purple suits, pink suits, green suits, polka dot, like just all kinds of stuff. Because I want the kids to see, like, look, you can do this and be this and think this and move and shift and do all of these different things. And it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less than. If anything, it makes you more than. And so in my classroom, those are the values that I push every day. And so when they come to the wrestling club, it's just an extension of those values that were in Mr. Perry's classroom. They see it now, like, oh, this is Mr. Perry. He loves wrestling. And like they see it and then they feel it. And then, like I said, well, I haven't said it here, but in other previous conversations that I've had, when the kids first came to the club, it was very much quiet. Like they were just watching the matches and then, oh, that was cool. And I could tell they wanted to release. I could tell they wanted to just be kids and be like, but it got to that point. And now it's crazy. Like one of my students, I can't say her name, but when we went to Raw, she lost her mind. And it was so beautiful to see because everyone around us was looking at her and they were probably envious, thinking like, I wish I could let myself go and enjoy this as well, but I'm an adult. So I'm not going to get up and scream and holler for Becky Lynch, or I'm not going to lose my mind and lose my voice because it doesn't appear to be cool. I love the fact that my kids now feel safe in their own expression for wrestling, but also anything that they're interested in. Like I want it to be a trend. I talk about this in class when I teach teachers how to teach. You want it to be transferable. So that way it's not limited to just one thing. it can apply and be applicable to all things. And so I hope that I'm being transferable with my children when it comes to expression, when it comes to confidence, when it comes to being able to communicate the things that they want and need and what things they don't like. And so, yeah, the wrestling club is just an extension of what I do already in my English class.
That is very powerful. So we do have some comments from Ziggy the Beast. He's one of our producers. He said, yeah, some of us are too scared to be called marks to enjoy wrestling. And then Kenya from Facebook, he said, what do you think about AEW?
No, we gonna wait on that. That's one of the questions. We gonna that's one of the questions. So
okay, so we'll just wait towards the end of this. Okay. So everybody, when we're done with Victor's interview, the first part, then you can ask Victor questions.
Yes, anything that was not covered or you need more details on, we gonna go ahead and let you answer after that. But we did cater some questions that I feel that are a little bit more expressive, and it'll help the flow of the interview a little bit better. So y'all go ahead.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show two clips. One clip is Victor's in his wrestling club and him and his club meeting Sasha Banks, and then we're going to actually see the club itself. I did a little Titantron for the kids, so hopefully I did.
Cool. Can you send me that? You will love it.
I will. I will send it to you when this podcast is over, and tell them I am their biggest fan, by the way. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and we'll be right back.
Then this story is for you. Students at KIPP AMP Middle School, well, they got a special surprise this afternoon after garnering the attention of a certain WWE superstar.
And the reaction is just all over their face. Not bad for a fun Friday for those kids. News 12's Phil Tate tells us more from Crown Heights.
There's a group of students that love wrestling at KIPP AMP Middle School, but never in their wildest dreams would one of their favorite WWE superstars, Sasha Banks, step into their classroom.
I feel so excited. That's so crazy. I'm feeling everything I want. I know how to feel anymore. Like, she's just so amazing. I love her so much.
Banks heard of the wrestling club through a tweet showing a typical day in Mr. Perry's class. The club of 35 students reviews matches from WWE's weekly programs Raw and SmackDown during their lunch and recess. The WWE star retweeted the video saying, quote, "What period is this? I gotta come to this school."
It's going to inspire them. I think it's going to show them that this world is not as big as it seems. And that their dreams are right in their reach.
It was a knockout for these kids as Banks showed up and showed out. She sang with them. Yeah! Danced with them. Snap photos. And even answered their questions, providing an inspirational message to boys and girls that they could do anything they put their mind to.
Man, I was just so inspired by the school. I got tweeted this video maybe like a couple months ago, so I had to stop by the KIPP Elementary School to see my man, Mr. Perry. I stopped by his classroom, and it was just so unbelievable to feel the energy of those kids, to have a wrestling club about wrestling.
Banks even says she wished she had a club like this when she was in school.
If I had this when I was a kid, I would have had so many friends growing up. Just that there's a wrestling club at this school can bring so many people together.
One thing is for certain, these kids may feel like they're dreaming, but it's now a reality.
I wanted to burst out crying. I felt like it was a dream because we will watch everyone on TV, but we never got to see someone in real life. I thought it was just going to be a normal Friday, but since she came, it's been a good Friday.
In Crown Heights, Phil Tate, News 12.
All right. Now we're going to give you the second version. Now, the wrestling club, TWC.
1, 2, is this on?
Championship belt. Why don't you?
Excuse me. When I walk in, you will fear me. And when I walk out, you won't hesitate to remember me. 1, 2, 3.
Thing only. That's the Universal Championship. And James Cannon, you call yourself the View, but I can see you from all the way up here. And
That roster. Then when I beat everybody, I will be the BOSS of TWC. Luke London, out. Yo, Carmelo, tonight you better win. This is for you. When I shoot, I don't miss.
So, yes.
Dude, I gave me goosebumps, and it's like my second time watching it, and literally I got.
Yeah,
oh, man.
Them
That's
fans.
crazy.
I mean, them kids are amazing. I mean, I would love to meet them like one day. And the crazy thing is that I do an EFED. I don't know if you ever heard of what an EFED is, but it's like an adult version of what the kids are doing. And we do storylines, we do rivalries, championship belts, but this is like a promo based type of thing that I run on Facebook, whatever it's called, WCC Brawl. I've been doing that for about 4 years or so, and when I seen what they were doing, I'm like, dude, that was me like fucking 30 years ago. It's awesome, man. But yeah, like the kids, they are the wrestlers for tomorrow, and what you are doing, man, I fucking salute you, dude. Like, it's, man, like the smiles on their faces just really just brightens up my day, man. It's just, man. But yes, that video will go to you, and yes, show your students that yes, people here in #HEELS4LYFE, we salute them. So yeah, but no, let's get into not problem. So let's ask you the first question. DJ, did you?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So explain to everybody, what is the wrestling club, and what do y'all typically do? Tell me, like, what do you guys do in a month frame? Yeah, there you go. I can't get it out. What do you guys do within a month frame? Like, what is the syllabus? Like, what do you guys dissect? What do you guys analyze? And what do you guys do?
Great. So this was the beta program because I was not approved to be an after school program when I first started it. So this school year coming up, I will be an after school program. So there is a curriculum. But for the beta program, we would just watch matches either from the week that they didn't get to see on TV. I would show them a requested match from Twitter. And then anything that I thought was of significance for them to look at it and analyze. We did study one storyline, Becky and Bianca from SummerSlam and up until WrestleMania. And there's a video clip of them like rejoicing of her win. And so like they got to follow that storyline. Like we broke it apart and then we looked at the matches and we looked at how each match had a callback to each. Just TJ Wilson's a legend when it comes to producing matches. And so like he leaves breadcrumbs for fans to look at and say like, oh, wow, this is what happened before and it didn't happen, or so on and so forth. And so we break those apart. And then we look at the storyline and then we watch the character growth. And so like the kids ironically knew that when Becky lost, she would go on a downward spiral. And they knew that because of her Van Gogh, I'd Sell My Soul promo that she did like right before WrestleMania. And that was when the kids were like, she's going crazy. And I was like, that's right. Like, you're paying attention to it. And so they're like, she's probably going to lose all summer. And I was like, that's right. Like, so y'all are actually picking up how the storyline should go. And they also critique him. Like some of the storylines they look at and they laugh at and say it's stupid. Like, ironically, they don't like Pat McAfee wrestling. They don't get it.
Wait, they don't like Pat?
They don't like him wrestling.
They don't like Pat. What?
Can we get some of these kids on the podcast? I think they'll make better hosts.
Wow.
Really, A-Bid?
I didn't say who. I didn't say who.
I think it's because he's not a wrestler. And so in their minds, they're only focused on people who are wrestlers and they know what it takes to be a wrestler. And so like they're just like he's just going through the motions. So they're not allowing themselves. They're not having kayfabe when it comes to Pat. They don't really care for him.
Y'all need to make them watch that. You guys, you need to make them watch that War Games. Watch that War Games. You need to make them watch that War Games.
Well, they've seen War Games.
Love these kids.
with Pat Mac?
No, they watched War Games. The one with Ricochet when he did the flip off the top of the ring.
Yeah,
that was insane.
Yeah,
that
but you need to watch the Pat Mac one.
Okay, I'll show you that one.
Yeah. Woo-wee. And then the whole Logan thing, man. I mean, he showed.
They like him now.
No. Hey, DJ, you throwing red flags now. But hey, stick to the script. Stick to the script.
We'll get to that later.
You're stupid. So the second question we wanted to ask you, so who all are able to participate in the organization?
So right now it was everyone in 6th grade. So if you were in my 6th grade classes, if you wanted to be a part of the club, you come during lunch and recess, and we do it. When it starts back in the fall, it'll be my previous 6th graders who are now 7th graders. They'll be grandfathered in, and then my new 6th graders. And there's going to be a GPA requirement. You have to have a 3.0 to be a part of the club. And then you have to watch Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. At least 2 of the 3 programming a week. You have to show proof that you're watching it. We'll do probably a quiz. And then I am incorporating AEW because the kids, I was not going to do AEW until later in the year. But we've had some kids in the club that are, I would say, they're far more advanced when it comes to pro wrestling. They just know everything. They're on the internet. And so they asked me about AEW. And so I was like, okay, well, this is what AEW is. And then I sent them on a homework assignment to look at WCW and WWF. And so we're going to watch some AEW. Like some kids are required to watch Dynamite. There's no answer for buts. And then I'll roll it out to the rest of the club once they're there. Once I know that they can consistently watch it, WWE on a regular basis, then we'll add Dynamite to the list.
Wow.
That is deep. I mean, so you basically you all across the board. Like you don't just discriminate. Yeah.
And this is why I said wait for the AEW question. He's
right.
probably going to be answering.
Right.
Well, I mean, since you're doing AEW out there, I saw.
No, we sticking to the script.
No. I know, but it goes into this too. I promise you.
All right.
Okay.
Getting the warning.
Man, I've been getting warnings all week and last 2 weekends for softball. You're now getting to ROH. Are you any time that you're going to add that to the curriculum too, or are you just going to just wait till that builds?
That has to be built because I don't know much about it myself. I only watched that pay-per-view because I really liked some of the wrestlers on the card, and my student, she asked, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll watch it because you asked." Like she was like, "I want to see what that's about." She's so. This is the Becky Lynch fan. She's so.
What you're talking about.
She's so like. She's like beyond. So like she's into it all. So I was like, yeah, we'll watch it. So we watch ROH, but that'd be for her. Like maybe there's about 5 kids I would say that are ready to be like, hey, go watch this on your own, and they'll do it. And so for those kids, those are the ones that I'll give like those outside promotions that aren't typically mainstream to those kids. Like New Japan Pro, I'm definitely going to send my kids on, and Stardom, they're definitely going to watch that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Told you it would work. 8-bit.
Hey, you still on the fence, so like I gotta make sure y'all stay on track.
What inspired you, whether to be a person, group, faction, to start this journey to create the wrestling club? Was there a certain? I know you talking about you and your twin brother watching wrestling when you're younger, but who was it? You're like, you know what? I'm pulling the trigger. Like, they have to see this. Besides your kids, and bringing up what was like, you know what? This is it. This is something that I can't stray from. What was it for you?
When showing my children?
This starting the whole club. Like, was it a faction? Was it a typical wrestler? Was it a promo? Like, what was it that you're like, you know what? I'm pulling the trigger on this. This has to be done.
I think it was Sasha and Bianca.
Okay. And what was it about their feud and their WrestleMania moment that solidified that feeling for you? What resonated with that storyline that touched you in that way that you was like, I'm all in?
It didn't have to have a storyline. It was 2 black women. That was enough for me.
Good answer.
Black magic, black girl magic.
Hey, for the coach. All right. So being in an education field is tough, and the new zero tolerance towards bullying or violent behavior. Have you had any difficulty or pushback with creating a club that shows violence and displaying heel characters who are praised for their personas?
Nope, none. Because my principal trusts me. He knows how I am in the classroom. And so he knows that I have a tight ship and I run a tight ship. And so he knows that what I put in front of my kids, it has some type of discretion being applied to it. And so they trust me. And I don't show them the violent stuff. I have shown them later once, Sasha came and they were like, oh, Mr. Perry, you have the stamp of approval. Then I started showing them Mick Foley and things like that, Hell in a Cell from the 90s. But before then,
I've seen that. Yeah.
What was there? Sorry to cut you off. What was there? Did they pop for the first for when you threw them off, or did it pop harder for the throw off, or they're going through the top of the cell?
Both. And I didn't film that match for them because I was so into it myself. I hadn't seen it. It had to have been 15 years, so I hadn't seen it. So I was watching it with them and didn't film. But the one with Triple H, was that the one? Which one was it where it was Triple H and Mankind, right?
It was Cactus Jack.
Cactus Jack. Yeah, that was No Way Out.
No Way Out. Right.
Yeah. So that one I filmed, and when they had the barbed wire, they went in. They were like, "Ew, no, don't do that." Yes. And then I showed them because Orton was my favorite wrestler. I showed them his match with Mankind at Bad Blood. Was it Bad Blood or Backlash? One of those. Backlash. And when he threw Randy on the pins, the thumbtacks, they went livid. Wow. They were like, ah! And then I showed them Gunther and Dragunov, both of those. Ooh. And they hated it. But there's a few kids who loved it. When I mean they hated it, they didn't hate it they were just so shook by the wrestling style.
Yeah.
They were just like, what is this? This is too aggressive. There's a couple kids who love it. That's all they talk about is Gunther. And so I was like, okay, so that King style, that resonated with them. So I was like, when I see those things, I'll give them homework. Hey, try NXT UK. It's on Peacock. Go get that and try. I'm just picking what things I can have more leeway with later in the school year.
Cool. A-Bid, did you have a question? No,
no, sir. I'm good. I'm just keeping time. I'm making sure y'all stay on track.
All right, special guest referee. All right, Jeff Jarrett.
I met Jeff Jarrett, to be fair. I met Jeff Jarrett, and he signed my death note. So I feel I can be imbued with the power of Jeff Jarrett.
Stupid.
With a lot of media being catered to shorter attention spans, how do you keep your wrestling club engaged in the storytelling of wrestling and the storylines that don't finish for months on end? They carry out. How do you keep them engaged into it?
That's a really good question. It's extremely difficult. And this summer has been difficult. Keeping them invested and getting them to SummerSlam, got them the Money in the Bank because that was like the first week of summer break. But then like that period of getting them there was tough. It was a lot of texting like, hey, y'all aren't watching. Hey, respond. Like, where are you guys? What are you doing? Like, because they get so sidetracked with camp. You have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Perry. I can wait for you to finish, but I just wanted to ask. So, with the current situation of the product and the new creative direction, do you feel like this will help you in keeping those attention spans because it's going to be fresh stories now?
I think so. I think last night their reaction to SummerSlam was like what I hadn't seen since showing them the Hell in a Cell matches from the 90s. WrestleMania 17, when I showed them that, like, they had that type of reaction. I was like, okay, so this is the magic that Triple H is trying to recreate, and it's going to work. And it's going to keep people invested from all ages because not one, he's going to give us people who we want to see, but he's going to tell the stories that we want to hear. And so I'm excited for it.
We're gonna touch on that in the second half of the show. So be prepared.
I recall when the first word got out about TV 14, you were asking for help about a disclaimer for the parents. It was a joke, but you were asking help, like, "Hey guys, help me with this disclaimer. How do I put this to these kids' parents so I can keep my kids?" And you got the responses you got were amazing, and people thought you were dead serious. Like, no,
I know.
If you go back and read some of the responses, no,
I feel bad for doing that.
Because people were really like, no, you gotta make sure you put this in there, gotta make sure to disclose this, and it was hilarious. But
it really was.
With the TV 14, I do you feel like it resonates more with the day-to-day life of living in New York, and like not only living in New York, but being in their situation as they're growing up, with the way the world is and how fast the world is moving. People said there's nothing like a New York minute, but the way the world is moving right now, how you think the TV 14 is going to play into with that situation of their life?
In all honesty, it's just a rating. New York kids see life and have seen life in ways I have never seen and hope to never see. When I taught in Brownsville, there were, in the 4 years that I taught in Brownsville, there were maybe 6 deaths that were surrounding the school. And out of those 6, like 4, I believe, were in the projects where the kids came from. So they would come to school crying, and we have to console them as teachers. Saying like, it's okay. Like, no, I saw my friend get shot, or like things like that. So it's just a rating at this point. They've seen the violence, they live it, and I hate it for them. To be 10 and 11 and 12, so insensitive to such gruesome violence because it's just their day to day. They don't even flinch anymore. Like we had a lockdown where there was like a shooting around the area in the playground, like the park that they go to, and I didn't see much fear. I was terrified, you know. There was like a school shooting in Texas, I think, like a couple weeks after, and like they just, it's sad. Like I think
desensitized.
They're so desensitized to it, and it's like, dang, like y'all can't even be kids. Like I can't even be an adult and be able to take care of you and be like, hey, it's okay. Like y'all are just like, oh, okay. You know, and so like it's tough. You know, it's tough as a teacher because like they know when they see stuff like the balls comment with the Miz, they know what they're talking about. Like it's not like something where it's like, what are they talking about, Mr. Perry? Like, no, they know. And they say it in the chat, like, why are they talking about that? That's sus. Or like, what does his balls have to do with his wrestling skill? Like, it's just, so no, if it goes to TV 14, the club is still going to be intact because at the end of the day, parents got to be real with themselves. These kids are far more educated than we were as kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That is really, really true. So your wrestling club had the pleasure to sit down with Sasha Banks and hear the words of encouragement and be a person in the industry that they're studying. Can you describe the process behind that?
Mm-hmm. So once she tweeted us, we didn't hear anything else. You know, she said like she wanted to come to school. And it was one of those things where it was like, no, this is cool. Like, but it was just like, I know they're busy. I don't expect her to come to the school. And so we went on about our day. Like we had state tests. And then we had I'll tell you this. So one day I was teaching and I got a DM. Like someone told me to turn on my DMs because I didn't have them on. And they were like, a lot of people can't message you. Like people want to talk to you. This is all new to me as well. So it's like, okay, cool. I'll turn them on. So I received a DM from a WWE official and he was like, hey, we saw your video. Sasha liked it. We liked it. We're going to be in town. We want to see if we can get Sasha to come to your club. And I was like, what? All right, bet. Let's do it. Wow. So I emailed them and we did a couple Zoom calls with everyone on board. And then it happened, but that was chill. Like the logistics part, that was chill. The thing that was so stressful was the day of. So we hadn't had a field trip in 2 years since the pandemic. So my kids have not gone on a field trip. I taught them in 5th grade. Now we're in 6th grade. And so all the other kids also have not gone on a field trip. So my principal bought out like this bowling alley in Times Square. So all the school could go bowling on May 6th, 2022. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is when Sasha's coming. We can't, like, we paid for it, Mr. Perry. So I was like, all right. So I'm staying behind. I was like, I'm not going to Times Square. I want to be at the school. My nerves ain't going to be able to handle it. I need to be here. So they're like, okay, can you promise me you'll have the kids back at a certain time? Because Sasha's coming at, I believe it was 1:15. Sasha's coming at 1:15. Y'all got to have the kids back. So they all went out to Times Square and they went bowling. I'm at school by myself. There's no one. And like, I'm freaking out. It's 12 o'clock. I'm like, they're like, we're on our way back, da-da-da-da-da. And before that even happened, I mean, to say this, they saw John Cena in Times Square. And that's when I was like, this is God. And I was like, God has his hand over all of this because that was a sign to tell me, like, Perry, chill. WWE is here. They're surrounding your kids, whether they're in their school or whether they're out in public. So just relax. And so I relaxed. And they got back at 12:45, which is like, that was crazy. And so they didn't know. The kids ain't know nothing. And so they came to the room and I put on a Sasha Banks match. I was like, just watch the match. And they're like, okay. And so they're watching. It was Sasha and Bayley, their Iron Woman match, because they had already seen Sasha and Bayley take over. And so I was like, I'll be right back. I got to go downstairs. They knew something was up, though, because the camera crew came in early and they were in the room, and they were like, "Why are camera people?" Some of the kids were looking like, "Why are camera people in the room?" They didn't know what was going on, and so the rest was history. Like, you see the video, she walked in and they lost their mind. Like, and it was such a good experience for the kids. It was such a great experience.
Wow. I was going to ask you the second part of that question, but you already answered it. So, so I'm going to hand it to you, bro. Go ahead.
What are your goals for wrestling? Any plans of growth and expansion in the districts, or do you plan on maybe like when you go to after school program? Do you
It's an after school program. It's going to be after school.
Okay. So
I got
after school program. Do you plan on opening your doors to other school districts, or just keep in house?
Let me tell you something. This thing has grown so fast. This started out as just me just saying I'll do this. I had no idea it'd be this. Like, ooh. I don't want to say no, but I'm gonna say for now.
No, too much.
It's a lot. Trust me. The match alone is a lot.
Okay. All right. So if anything were to happen to you, where would the transition away from teaching focus on your music career, another passion that might guide you elsewhere? Who would take over the club activities during your transition?
Good question. I have had that kind of like in the forefront, but haven't really like, because what if I wake up one morning and it's like, I don't want to teach anymore, Right. I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know.
You answer that? You can always get back with us. You can DM us.
and we'll relay it out there. I mean, we'll treat you better than what Michael Cole and they did.
Shout out to Michael Cole, by the way. He was a nigga yesterday. He was. I don't even fuck with Michael Cole like that. And I'm like, damn, you really ate your Wheaties today. Like, for real.
He went to the barbecue.
Yo, I'm screaming. That's funny.
As a person who studies wrestling and spreading the love of wrestling, do you find yourself gravitating to a particular promotion? I mean, I know you talked a lot about WWE, having kids really into WWE. But what is your favorite promotion? What are your top 3 favorite promotions that you watch personally? That for your own personal love of the wrestling. What are your 3 favorite promotions, and why are they your favorite promotions?
I like WWE, of course. Why? I think that's for everyone. I think everyone was first introduced to wrestling, I think, through WWE. They're just they're just the first, I like AEW. I like AEW for the wrestling. Storylines are kind of weak, I think, and the entertainment portions are kind of like, yeah, but the wrestling is on point. And I love New Japan Pro. I have a friend who I've made on Twitter, who we Discord. Like he has a subscription to New Japan Pro, and so like we'll Discord from time to time, and he'll show me some of the matches from the G1, and things like that. And so like it's got me hooked, because it's like that type of wrestling is storytelling. Like I feel like WWE has a mix of New Japan Pro and AEW, but it hasn't perfected it with all their talent. Whereas AEW is just pro wrestling, and then New Japan Pro is just storytelling with the wrestling. And so I like it because it's like, you can really like tell. You don't have to have I don't have to know what language you're speaking or know who the wrestlers are to enjoy the match when I watch New Japan Pro. It's just like, whoa. Like I watched this steel cage match the other day. It wasn't New Japan Pro. It was Stardom. It was with, forgot the girl's name, and my friend's gonna kill me. But they were going in, and I'm like, I've never seen a steel cage match done this way before. Like, I've only ever seen steel cage matches wrestled for the steel cage. Like, you're just using the steel cage as a story. They were wrestling, and then the steel cage just in addition to what they were wrestling with. And I thought that was so dope.
Okay, is it my turn?
Mm-hmm.
My turn. Okay. So what changes in the wrestling community would you like to see?
More storylines for women outside of the title picture. I would like to see the mid-carders taken more seriously. I remember when I grew up, and I'm sure you guys remember, Intercontinental Championship was a big deal to have. It doesn't feel like it right now. Same with the States Championship. I want more Roman Reigns. So we can't just have one Roman Reigns in WWE. You got to have multiple. When we were growing up, you had multiple. Even though John Cena was the face, you had Orton, Batista, Triple H, HBK, Rey Mysterio. Like, I can't say the other dude's name. But like, you know, just different people who were like at the forefront of the company who, if John Cena wasn't there, it didn't matter, so to speak.
So, Terrell, so we talked about this on Twitter. Like, once again, a lot of folks don't understand how it's supposed to go. It doesn't matter, like, if it's WWE, AEW, MLW, doesn't matter. You're supposed to have your main guy, and then you're supposed to have your surrounding cast. So if the main person goes down, then you got the other one to take his place. Case in point, Stone Cold went down during the Attitude Era. Who picked up the ball? The Rock. Rock had a supporting cast. He had Kurt Angle, Triple H, Mankind, and then on top of that, then the mid carders had something to do. Even the jobbers had something to do, and we don't see that in today's era. And that's what's missing in the WWE. Now, hopefully, with this new regime, they will bring some of that nostalgic, shit back to the WWE. And make it great again, hopefully. So
yeah, and then but that's what we're going through right now is I call it you remember when we had the wire headphones and you wrap them up real nice, then you put them in your pocket and you pull them out, they were like back in the knot for some strange reason. I think all promotions are going through that they put the eggs in one basket, and then once that guy is hurt, we're like, what's going to happen? Like, we have to find something to do now. But back then, you're like, oh, you're down? All right, hey, it's your turn. Hey, it's your turn. Hey, step it up. I'm not going to say his name because Chris will get mad at me.
Oh,
Cody Rhodes.
I mean,
next part of my question. So are you using the wrestling club to cultivate these changes in the early so children can hopefully make better informed decisions?
In relation to,
like, so say like if they want to become a wrestler, are you like using the club to not only school them, but like to say, hey, you can make, if you don't want to go this way, like say like if you don't want to be a wrestler, you can be a manager or you can be a producer or something like that. Are you using the club?
Yes, 100%. That's the goal. I wish I was 10 again and had a teacher like me who had a club like this, because I'd be in pro wrestling. I'd be working in pro wrestling. And I want my children to know, like, I'm short. All right. So like, I just discovered that there's a short wrestler named Jonathan Gresham, who's like 3 inches taller than me. So I was like, yo, what? If I saw Jonathan Gresham when I was 10 years old and knew I wasn't going to get any taller, I'd be a wrestler. I'd be like, yo, I want to be like Jonathan Gresham. So like, I want my kids to see that there are so many opportunities out there, not just the one that you want. And so, like, even if it's not pro wrestling, let's say you want to be a doctor, but for whatever reason you don't make it, that doesn't mean you can't be in medicine. Look at go out and look for other things that are surrounding what being a doctor is. And so, what happened?
No, you're good.
Oh. Ignore him. Yeah, ignore the.
You okay?
Oh, sorry.
I got something.
Yeah,
oh
man,
that was Cody Rhodes.
You know what? Both of y'all.
While Chris is getting his life back together, brother, are you okay? This we talked about this a lot on our Twitter Spaces whatnot, and it's definitely I feel like it's something that needs to be addressed. Do you feel that African American wrestlers are underappreciated across the wrestling industry as a whole, or is it with select promotions?
As a whole. We're just now starting, I think, to celebrate African Americans in pro wrestling, but we have a long way to go. A long way to go across the board, I think. It should not feel, I'm sick. As much as cool it is to say, oh, the first, it shouldn't be that anymore. It should just be the norm at this point. Like, there's only 3 black women in WWE on the main roster. One's only active right now. That's a problem. You know, AEW, they seem to it's across the board. I'm not going to say anything that I will regret already.
Yeah.
It needs to be worked on across the board. That's what I'm
say. But you saying that, what do you think would be the right steps? We have Jade over there working the Goldberg undefeated streak. We had Scorpio Sky over there just dropped the title. We have Bobby Lashley with the U.S. title. We had Ricochet with the IC. We have the Usos and Street Profits going at it. What steps do you feel that needs to be done to get the ball back running? Because it was during Black History Month, we had champions all across the board were African American, and then once Black History was over, it was like belts got dropped. So what do you feel needs to be the next few steps into, not I would say rectifying it, but what do you feel that needs to, like, what do you feel needs to be the foundation to this new house?
I think the face of the company should be black.
Hello.
There we go. There we go.
From there.
That, you know what? And honestly, that will cut a lot of problems. Like, you know, as far as like, you know, black wrestlers, black representation, like you was talking in one of your videos or whatever. And I think that's one of the main problems in professional wrestling, not just WWE, not just AEW, but I'm just talking about as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Because like it don't make any sense that we have to question The Rock's blackness. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so you're on Black History Month, but then yet the WWE doesn't acknowledge you as being the first African American WWE champion.
Yes, and so like it's funny you say that. I did a bulletin board for Black History Month, and I did a bulletin board of all the black champions, and I put it on Twitter. And people called me out for putting Roman and putting The Rock and putting the Usos. And I was like, they're black. What are you talking about? Like, they're people of color. They're black. What are you talking about? Like, but there again, it's not spoken about, you know. So it's like no one would think that The Rock was the first Black African American champion, you know, because it's not owned, you know. And so I think we also have to own our narratives and control them in those spaces. We can't, especially those that I wouldn't say The Rock is white passing at all, by no means. But for those that are white passing, you know, you gotta own it and be like, no, I'm a Black person. Like, it's that simple.
So it's I don't want to stay on this subject. I really don't want to stay on this subject because I know me and you gonna go back and forth with this one. So my whole thing is, you said Roman was Black, correct? You said Roman was Black. Okay. So why is he not on Black History Month?
I don't know. They had him for what was it, the Asian
Pacific Islander, and
they had him for that, but he's also Black. I mean, if you look back at the history of where Asian people originate from, or at least it's that those Samoans, I believe it's traced back to African and African people. And so I think that's just also a misconception that people don't know, like their lineage.
So do you think that this is a ploy to for the WWE to kind of shy away from, you know, marketing the Black market? Because, like, you know, it's kind of funny when we talk about race in the WWE. It's like such a gray area with them. It's like they'll talk about it over here, but then they won't talk about it over there. And it's like you can't mix up your Blackness. It's either you're Black or you're not.
Yeah.
You know, you say, hey, on Black History Month, we're going to put The Rock, but then we're not going to talk about him being the first Black African American WWE champion. So my thing is, do you think that this is an ongoing problem with the WWE when it comes to talking about race? Because Titus O'Neil recently went on WWE television and said that we don't talk about race, but then yet we had Triple H 20 years ago said that Booker T was a jigaboo that was made to dance and shuck and jive for the white culture. So do you think that this is an ongoing problem with the WWE with this race issue?
I think it's an ongoing problem in society. I think it's a lot of learned behaviors that needs to be unlearned. And I think it starts with these type of conversations and dialogues where people are, you know, not calling someone out, because I feel like calling someone out then puts them on blast, but raising awareness around the issue and understanding that representation does matter. And the way in which it is received means everything. Look at Bianca Belair. She's so well received by the whites, the Blacks, and everyone else in between because they presented her as so authentic. The hair, the dancing, the music, her pattern, the way she speaks, the way she carries herself. Where is that at with everyone else? Where is that at? We don't see it. Montez is starting to ooze it out of his character, and he's starting to iron it out, and I love it. But where is it at for everyone else? You know? And so I think it requires awareness, and it also requires how it's being presented then once that awareness is being raised. Because I believe, back to your other point, if The Rock is Black, right? Roman's Samoan as well. So then why is Roman not synonymous with The Rock when it comes to being Black? And so like that discrepancy is where people just assume and just forget or just don't even acknowledge, you know?
Right. Or just don't want to even talk about it, period. It's like they'll just throw it under the rug and then say, hey, you're playing the race card over here or whatever. I'm just like, it's not playing the race card. It's supposed to be an equal opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying this because I'm a fan of your product, but then at the same time, it's like you don't want to talk about our history. It's like you don't want to talk about them because it makes you feel uncomfortable. And it shouldn't make you feel.
Well, there's a thing called equality and then there's a thing called equity. They're two different things. And I think once people realize that, then change will happen.
Well, let me ask you this, and then I'm gonna go on to the next question. Do you think change is going to happen with this new regime?
I do. I think so. It's not going to be some type change, you know. I mean, if Triple H want to be radical in that way and do that, then by all means, please. But I think there's going to be change, and I think the change is going to then be felt as ripples throughout the next couple years, because he has a lot to undo. I mean, not saying Vince McMahon did terrible, but he didn't do amazing either, you know. And what he created was amazing, and kudos to him for having that vision and making it what it is today. Like, kudos to him, but there's a lot that needs to be unraveled and re-examined and unlearned.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then I'm going to say this. I mean, I guess I won't say it. I think you're going to ask me it later.
Okay.
No, get it off your chest. I want to hear this.
I'm here for this.
Yeah, we're here for it. We want the smoke.
I'll wait.
Why? Now you want me to wait now?
I'll wait.
Damn. Okay.
He's not going to do a picture-in-picture. He's going to go straight to commercial.
so silly. I think we got. Wait, we are on number
Mount Rushmore.
Okay, all right. So, what wrestlers will be on your Mount Rushmore?
I hate you asking that question.
I didn't come up with this. Actually, he did. I did. So, I'm very interested to know, though. Go ahead.
I mean, there's the ones that you're supposed to say. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and say those, and I'm gonna give you.
No. Just go straight to yours. Don't even do that. Don't even do that. Go straight to yours.
We're not gonna go to the rabbit hole
because that's gonna start a whole nother conversation in chat later, which I'm not dealing with. So just start with yours. We'll fight for you, not for the staples.
Gotcha. Okay, fine.
I hate AB. I hate you.
All right. Sasha Banks, Carmelo Hayes, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair,
because you know this is the second part to this question.
Okay,
so be careful.
I mean, I would say there's a couple more people, but no, I think I'm gonna stick with those people.
Okay, cool. So, what have they done or impacted in the wrestling community that you feel needs to be moralized?
All right, let's start with Sasha. I think she's the greatest in-ring competitor of all time. I don't think there's anyone that understands the psychology of wrestling the way that she does. And if anyone wants to disagree, let's think about the best women matches of all time. It's going to have Sasha attached to it. So, yeah, and I think she has not received her flowers. That's my girl. Do better, please. Carmelo Hayes is young, and that's my dude. And I see him being like Bianca is for women. I see Carmelo, if WWE gets it right, I pray they do. I pray they let him stay how he is and let him just evolve like how they did with Bianca, because he's special. He understands how to move in the ring. He understands how to talk. He understands how to relate. I think that's why my children love him as much. However, so yeah. Becky Lynch,
a shout out.
Huh?
Your kids gave him a shout out.
Well, it's crazy because he tweets and he interacts with the club.
Yeah. He's
and Big E.
Yeah.
And
Melo's, yeah, Big E too, but Melo's a member. He's definitely a member. It's a waiting game with him to come see the kids. That's all. Like, he would have been coming to the children and played with them and like played the video games and like all that. Like, it's just a waiting game with him. and the kids love him. Like, he's an honorary member. Seth Rollins, like I said, he's my spirit animal. Like, I dress like him. I want to be like him. I just like how unapologetic he is in the ring, but also how unapologetic he is to his character. Like, man's had on a orange suit yesterday and them shoes and ran 400 meters. You can't convince me otherwise. That
Rollins has really grown on me, bro. Like, he's really grown.
Yes. You know what made him? You know what turned me for him? And I hate this, but it was Raw after Survivor Series when I saw him get attacked by that fan. That is what.
Yeah. You know what, Big? I am so glad you brought that up. What was going through your mind when you seen that? That it happened in your city? Like,
yeah.
What was you thinking?
So I thought it was Keith Lee at first.
Keith Lee don't have no flow.
I thought he had on red. And I don't know what I was thinking. And then when the cameras, so like in the thing, the Tron thingy or whatever went out, and that's where it was. Like, oh, that's a fan. But yeah, it was crazy. And my student was right there. And he was like, "What the?" And I was like, "Watch your mouth." And then he didn't know what was going on. Like, we didn't know what was going on. But the way he handled it, I don't know. For me, it was just, I don't know. I connected with it. Something in me was just like, yo, I love Seth Rollins. And ever since then, he's been my favorite. Dude is dope. Becky Lynch. Oh, what's up?
I was going to ask you a quick. I'm referring to Seth Rollins. Hell in a Cell with Cody. I felt like he protected Cody when that match happened. When Cody took his jacket off, and you seen Seth's reaction like everybody else's. After watching that match, like, what did you get from Seth Rollins from watching that match?
He's a true sport. He's a true sport in the ring. And he is too giving and too gracious at times. The fact that he's been losing so much and it doesn't hurt him just goes to show how transcendent he is when it comes to wrestling. It doesn't matter at this point. Tomorrow he could beat Roman Reigns and no one would question it because it's Seth freaking Rollins.
Do you feel that Seth Rollins is the Chris Jericho of this modern day?
Ooh.
You had to bring up that comment. You had to bring that back up, didn't you?
I'm a plumber.
He got that.
That is your final warning of the night. That is your final warning of the night.
That's shocking.
I'm not answering that. What? No, I'm not answering that.
Why not?
You're about to get me in trouble. People like me.
No,
I'm not, listen, y'all are heels for life. I'm a babyface.
That's why I'm here. I gotta keep. I'm the only face next to Zig. I was the only face on.
You better not.
I'm the only face. I'm the only face on this.
You better not. You better tell people with you up there dressing like Donald Trump yesterday. You better.
That is not me. That is not me. That was not me. That was the character. This a bit of fun.
Now
a bit of fun is a face.
He wants to the separation of the character and the person now. Now he wants
I have several characters. Several characters. Yes. Yeah. It is President PlayStation 1 is President PlayStation versus Xbox Biden. So it is characters. Characters.
Did you say President?
President PlayStation 45 for the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. And then we have Xbox Biden.
I can't get with you. Okay.
Go to your next wrestling in Mount Rushmore, please. Go to your next wrestling in Mount Rushmore, please.
It's your fault.
Yes, please. Because like I didn't know about them personas, but let's keep going on with the
Okay.
After this, I'm getting your ass.
Becky Lynch.
Go ahead.
Becky Lynch. She understands how to tell a story. Like, she is the greatest woman storyteller, I think, when it comes to character. That woman can tell a story in the ring. And the fact that she wrestled yesterday with a separated shoulder, and still was able to tell the story with Bianca, and it meant so much to her to put a capstone on that story. That was beautiful to me. She had a
separate. Oh, I didn't even know that.
She was favoring it in the match.
Okay. She injured it like within the first 3 minutes of it. Like, she had it, like, it was bad. Like, Bianca, I think she put her arm out. I think it was during the chicken wing, like the Glamazon slam. Becky put her arm out and it separated. And she favored it the entire match.
Damn.
So she's forever a GOAT, but she's also a GOAT because she loves my kids. That's all I can say.
Oh, you tell you that love them too?
When I tell you that she loves my kids, she loves them. Becky's a real one. She loves my kids.
A couple of kids got to meet her at MSG, correct?
Becky, I guess I can say this without getting in trouble. Becky's the reason why we went to Madison Square. She got us those tickets to go. And Elise, cut that out. Almost said one of my students' names. Haley Kilgore, that's her wrestling name. See, I can call them by their wrestling names. Haley Kilgore got to meet Becky. It was such a beautiful moment. Haley Kilgore loves Becky. Like, she loves Becky like how I loved Victoria. And so that's why I like that. You have your one person that just your everything and like you do anything for that person. Becky is for her. And so for her to get to meet Becky and like just take a picture and share that moment, but then to see her reaction, I don't know if you guys saw her go crazy.
Yep, she was marking out.
Yes.
That's how I would mark out if I see The Rock.
Oh. You know who I do that for? Even though I feel like we're friends. I think he was Sam his friend. But if I saw Carmelo, I'd probably do the same. And I'd be like, he'd probably look at me like, why are you doing that? I'm like, I don't know. I just couldn't help it. Like, so
it's like some of the wrestlers that we see them on television. And it's like when we see them in person, it's like you just get like an outer body experience. Like, oh my fucking God, you're right in front of me. What? You know what?
Maybe you won't, because I didn't do that with Sasha. And I thought, and Sasha's like my fave. I didn't do that with Sasha, but I don't know if it's because I had to be a teacher, and I'd be professional and I had so many things to do. I didn't do that with Sasha. Like, she got out of the car and she waved and I waved and that was it. The nerves went away. So
that's cool.
Maybe you won't go too crazy.
And
then the last person, you said he will.
Oh yeah, he will definitely.
I probably will. Yeah, I probably would. But I love like you said, I gotta stay professional. So yeah,
I think when you keep that at the forefront, it helps, because that was what I had to think about. Was like, I'm the teacher. This is for my children. Like, I did this for them. Like, I can't lose my mind. It would be bad, I think. And last but not least, Bianca. I mean, what can you, like, good God, like,
Black girl magic.
Yeah, she's incredible. And I got to meet her as well. And, she was so gracious. Like, she cut a promo for the kids, like a shout out. I posted it finally. I held on to it for months, and I finally posted it. And she's so nice, and like, she supports the club too. And so she reminds me a lot of my cousin. And so, like, that's what I think what makes her so endearing, is the fact that she could be your family member. And so you want to root for your family member. And so I love the portrayal of her. I hope that with her being her authentic self, it inspires other Black young girls to become pro wrestlers and then be themselves. and then challenge it when they're told to be something else. I hope that it inspires them.
That's what's up. Right, T.O., go ahead.
With the wrestlers in your Mount Rushmore, does any one of those wrestlers possess your favorite wrestling style? If not, what is your favorite wrestling style?
I don't know the name of it, but it's between Carmelo and Sasha. And the only reason why it's between Sasha, the reason I can say Carmelo is because he studies Sasha. And if you watch his wrestling, he does a lot of her moves. And so I love the way Sasha wrestles. I love it.
Okay.
All right. Last
but
question.
if I could be a wrestler, it wouldn't be Sasha, though.
What would it be? What would it be? Hold on. What would it be?
I want to be Ricochet.
The one that's in catering?
You know what? Get out of here.
But he don't get a warning, right? 8-bit?
How you write up your boss? How How that work?
Vince McMahon.
You can check it. They got rid of Vince. Get rid of him. Out.
That is true.
Who paid for all this? Because it ain't me.
Yes. $25 a month. Yes.
Listen, don't do my man Ricochet like that.
I'm not. I'm okay. We're not done with you in the second half because we got a lot to talk about. Because we got a lot to. He's one of them, but I'm gonna leave that for the next one, and then you know what I'm saying the fans they can.
Yes, after this, y'all can have the free for all.
Yes,
y'all have this.
Yes. Yes. So with everything that we have talked about tonight, which has been an awesome interview with you, what is the wow moment you want everyone to take away from this interview?
PlayStation 4 5.
You know,
you get out of here. You fired. You fired. Back to Twitter you go. Back to Twitter.
I'm sorry.
You silly as hell.
Now I can't be serious. How am I supposed to answer that and be serious with a straight face? Because all I'm thinking about is Donald Trump.
Xbox Biden?
Right, because I'm sorry. Like, I literally choked on my water with that shit. Like, I'm sitting up, I'm like, is this black man having this blonde wig on? Like, and I'm just like, it's so flawless though. You know what I'm saying? It's flawless. Like, I'm like, damn. Like, I know you didn't get that shit from Value Beauty.
Let's get through this, and I will bring it back out for the free for all. I will step away. I will cut the camera, and I'll bring it back for the free for all. Let's answer the final question so y'all can get to the actual fun part.
Final question.
He got to answer it.
Oh, he could keep a straight face. Okay, let's go into free for all mode. All right. So anyone that has questions, concerns, and everything,
he really better put this wig on.
Yeah.
Yo, we told you we got a show for you, sir.
This man.
I'm
not dealing with him.
Let me ask you this. All right. Give me your top 5 wrestler theme songs.
You know, I just did a question on this on Twitter. Did you see that?
Why do you think I'm asking?
Oh, okay.
I'm in the Twitter streets, yo. I see this.
Okay. Brood. Edge's Brood. I have a soft spot for Orton's Burning My Light. Cody Rhodes, Kingdom Straight. I will put up on there now Cult of Personality, CM Punk. It's a fire song. Bianca's Watch Me Shine. Victoria's all the things she said. I know I've passed 5, but I don't care. I love music. Carmelo's the greatest. Judas, Chris Jericho.
Yep.
And there's another one I just heard that a fan put on my radar. Oh my god!
Is it
Xbox
in AEW or
intro?
WWE?
Huh?
It's
Xbox.
It was an old WWE one.
It's probably Xbox DX interest. It was
like a rock. It was like rock but rap, I think.
No, I'm saying me personally, I think that's the most underrated theme song.
Which one?
Xbox DX anthem.
Oh, okay.
Generation X.
No, but Xbox version though.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Oh yeah. Let's go, Xbox.
Yeah.
You'll do what to do.
Yeah, you gotta hear that one. I'm gonna send that to you.
Yeah, that one is dope.
That one's fire.
You know what? The other one that's like so dope is The Rock. The Rock has had the guitar and the bass like never changes, but it's like the overall like he adds like more shit to his theme song. Like I'm not gonna lie, he got it from the Nation of Domination. Like it was the first one. He said, dun, 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 The Rock slayed SmackDown. Dun, dun. The Rock said, The Rock said,
I remember that one.
The Rock said, no, you're wrong. Shut your mouth.
Okay, now you need to shut your mouth and let me come in. The king of wrestling, President PlayStation. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I have arrived. Yes, I have arrived. Your El Presidente 45 here. PlayStation 4s and PlayStation 5s will be readily available. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Oh my goodness. Make that man go up. You know what?
You talk about me, I show up, I come to your event, and here we are. I come to the show, and here we are. Here we are, Christopher. Here we are, Christopher.
Yo, take that off.
Here we are, Christopher. This what you wanted. I come to your little show. And now we're here. And no one was. I was gone. I said I made my appearance for SummerSlam. It was a huge SummerSlam. Huge premium live event. Huge. One of the biggest premium live. They had almost 50,000 people in the audience. Readily available. It was almost 60,000 people in the audience. Readily available.
Look, Mr. Trump, our number one. It was only 38,603 people. Thank you so much.
If we round up, that's almost 70,000 people available. Carry the one, Christopher. Carry the one.
Woo, Jesus.
Carry the one, Christopher.
Jesus. Okay.
You had all those other guys doing bad math yesterday. I made one slip up to the moon.
Not Cameron Grimes.
Yo, Vic, I have another question for you. Oh my God.
I have a headache.
I'm sorry. I was not prepared for that.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Let me ask you this, Vic.
Woo.
Okay.
You not gonna take it off?
Yes,
I'm not taking it off. I'm here to stay. This what they wanted. I'm here.
If you had the book and pencil right now and could do 5 matches in any promotion, cross promotion matches, what were the 5 matches that you would book?
Lord Jesus, please.
All right. Usos versus FTR.
Okay.
Bianca versus Jade. Roman versus Kenny. Sasha versus the lady, I think her name is Maiko from NXT UK.
Oh, you back now?
Will Ospreay versus Seth.
Okay. So let's get into the shit real quick, because originally when we were doing this podcast, we were trying to figure out how can we pick Victor's brain or whatever. What did you think about SummerSlam? We don't have to go through the card. We just want to just pick your brain and see is this the Attitude Era or the Ruthless Aggression Era? What was you feeling about SummerSlam last night? Because honestly, I think this was one of their best pay-per-views in years.
Yeah.
I don't lie to you.
I know it was one of the best because I rewatched it today, and I never rewatched pay-per-views. Unless it's from the old era.
Nice.
So I rewatched it today. It definitely gave me Attitude Era, like it wants to be Attitude Era. That's exciting. Because it'll be Attitude Era 2.0 because how you got women, and women are used correctly. And so I loved it. I gave it a 9 out of 10 with my kids.
Okay.
I think it's a little too high in retrospect, but it doesn't matter because even the lower moments, like the moments that I didn't like, wasn't Triple H's fault. It wasn't his fault that he booked Liv versus Ronda. It wasn't his fault that he booked Pat McAfee versus Corbin, or Logan Paul versus The Miz. That wasn't his fault that he booked those matches. He just had to see it through. So I can't fault him too much on those matches.
But you know what, Big? Even that shit. A lot of people will say that that shit was bullshit because celebrities was in that match. I'm not going to lie to you. Them celebrities look better than the wrestlers themselves. I ain't going to lie to you. So Logan Paul, a lot of people don't like Logan Paul. I don't know why. Logan Paul gives me life. But that frog splash he did, gave me vibes of RVD and Montez Ford. This man changed direction when he crashed, in the announcement on Miz. Yeah. So I think they don't give these celebrities enough credit. What was that? Bad Bunny, Pat McAfee, and Logan Paul. After last night, they are my faves. No bullshit.
Yeah, but also yes, you're correct. But I also want to add, I think we should give credit to the Performance Center because if you got a guy like Logan who can do it and wants to do it, and you give him those skills, they look great. I mean, look at Bianca. The Performance Center, she never wrestled before in her life, and you never think that she'd be like this in the ring. So I think you're right. If you have it, you want it, they can cultivate it into something great. And so I do think Logan will be something. He'll be an attraction. I think I just have to do as what I do for everyone: separate who they are as a person from who they are as a wrestler. And I think once I'm able to be a big boy about that, I can see Logan being fire in the ring.
Now, not trying to misquote you, but let me just make sure I get this right, because that bald-headed bastard down there, he tried to come for me when it came to Ric Flair. Now, Ric Flair had his last match tonight. Everybody that was talking about it on the podcast or whatever, I wasn't ignoring your messages, but we had a guest on. So, but Ric Flair. Oh, no, Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit.
Chris Benoit.
A lot of people was telling me, can you separate the wrestler from the actual person? You say you had some issues doing that, separating the two. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was criticized by Terrell by that. Why you can't separate the person from the wrestler? Because I feel that they're all in one. I feel that way wholeheartedly. I feel that Chris Benoit should have never killed his children. That's like number one. You don't kill the kids. You that's sacred. You can't do that. And you shouldn't even take a light, period. But when we talk about the wrestler, he's one of the greatest of all time. But a lot of people can't separate that at all. It's like they can't have the conversations in some of the Twitter spaces or whatever. I'm like, you just got to be mature about it. Like, if we talk about the greatest technical wrestler of all time, Chris Benoit got to be at least in your top 3. Hands down. So my question to you is, like, can you have those conversations when those come up, or do you just avoid them like altogether?
I usually avoid them because I look at it this way. There's always someone else that's just as good that you can use as a frame of reference if you're going to speak about someone that's technical. And so, like, that's why I have a hard time separating the two, because he's not, like, if he was the only one, then yeah. And it's sad, but I can't have empathy for his actions. And so it's like, he's not needed to be brought up anymore. You feel me? There's a lot more technical people who I wouldn't say take his place, but they'd be a good substitute.
Okay. So with that being said, let's talk about Jonathan Gresham. How do you feel about him being disrespected by Tony Khan?
I don't like it. I identify with him because he's short, and I think it's beautiful because, like I said, had I seen someone like him as a kid, I think I would be a wrestler. I've always said I couldn't be a wrestler or do it because I was short. And so to see someone like him so technical, so good in the ring, to be mistreated and not spoken to or given an opportunity to defend what he has earned because someone else comes in who's taller, who's probably more recognized. And there's no shade to him because he's great at what he does, but it's like, I understand how he feels. He has to go up against a stigma of people. Like when I was on social media, they kept making short jokes. Like, cut it out. Like, we all got our shortcomings, our things that we don't have that makes us quote unquote perfect. But what is perfect? Perfect is boring. So it's like, look at him in the ring. He's a technical giant. Like, that's what matters. He's a giant when it comes to being technical. The fact that he ran circles around a giant in the ring, literally, shows you that he should be taken seriously. And so I find it extremely difficult to read about him not being looked as someone that could be a game changer for the future by someone like Tony Khan, because that's what we need. Imagine who's out there that's short, that could be the best wrestler that's ever graced this earth. But because they don't want to take that chance because of how they're looked upon, they choose not to follow that dream. I just don't like how it's being handled at all.
Yeah,
I wish the man luck. Maybe he comes to WWE and Triple H really gives him what he needs. I don't know.
You know what? While we on that subject, what do you think are the chances of Jonathan Gresham going to the WWE? Do you think that he might be a good fit?
I don't know. I think it's going to. His wrestling is going to have to change.
You don't think his style of wrestling will hang with the WWE? You think that
he's going to have to modify it? I think he's too skilled. I think he's going to have to modify it to cater to the other people.
Too skilled?
I think so. From what I've seen, he's really technical. I think WWE has a unique style that caters for matches. I just think he's going to have a hard time working with some of the talent who aren't as technical.
Or too fast for them, or just overall just...
Yeah.
So I feel Jonathan Gresham is like all the way up here. So it's like what you're saying is he has to come down to their level. I mean, don't you think that's kind of like downgrading himself a little bit just to cater to other people?
That's why I'm saying I don't think he'd go to WWE. I don't think That's what I'm saying. It just depends. If Triple H sees that and says this could be something that we can use as a benchmark to elevate other wrestlers, then great. All for it. But if it's going to be where it's like, oh, you can't, because we see it with Riddle. Riddle's decent, but we don't see that anymore. Like his NXT Riddle is no longer existent. He's a freaking cosplay of Randy Orton, and that's what we're getting off on. But it's like, come on, guys, Riddle can wrestle. He's an MMA, like whatever. Like, boy got skill in the ring, but we don't see it. And so I don't know. I just don't know. I don't see Jonathan Gresham in WWE.
So with the WWE, sorry, cut you off. So
No, you can.
So with the WWE, when Vince was in power, Vince liked to go after athletes that really don't have a wrestling background, so that he could. I got this from Bully Ray. He, in a sense, like to be able to brainwash him in the style of WWE wrestling. So then when Hunter was running NXT, he got a lot of the indie guys. You see more indie people coming in there. But the thing is, the WWE wants you to wrestle like WWE. You know what I mean? They want you to follow their steps. They want you to follow their game plan, their blueprint. That's how it's supposed to be. And then perfect example, look at Daniel Bryan right now. Bryanson, when he was at WWE, we did not see the wrestler that we see right now because he was following the blueprint of the WWE. When they leave the WWE, you see a whole different wrestler. Look at Mox. We've seen a whole different style of Moxley than we saw with Ambrose. And it's because they want them to follow that blueprint. And become Gresham, like you said, he is extremely, like, he is set in his ways. But when you go to WWE, you have to cut that off. Like, you have to, like check your bags at the door. Like, you can't bring your cell phone in, you can't bring none of this in here. And just go put it in your car and come learn what we're doing over here. And that's what you said. That would and will happen if he decides to make that jump. Not saying that it wouldn't be a good move for him. Hey, money talks, bullshit walks, right? I mean, like, think about it. These two companies are going to give you that check.
Right.
I mean,
So then you got to sacrifice something.
Exactly. So right now it is 9:54 Central, 10:54 Eastern. So we're gonna go to final thoughts real quick. So this is your time to Victor, I'm talking to you. So you can just tell us your well, they can find you on Twitter. I put it down below. Matter of fact, hold on one second. Let me just put this up real quick so they know where to find you. And then what I'll do is I'll put the link, all of your links or whatever. I put that all together, so they can find you. So they can find you on Twitter under Wallflower Perry. Is there any other places where we can find you?
Twitter. That's where you at. You got me. If not, Spotify.
Yeah. I do want to say congratulations on the 1.2. Congrats.
Yes.
Congrats on the 1.2, man. Congrats.
Yes. Yes, very much so. So, final thoughts. Let's have the guest go first.
Give him the floor, Chris.
Yes. Yep. I will.
Oh
no, not me. Go ahead, brother.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
Whatever you want, man. Whatever you want, bro. You can start singing right now if you want to plug them.
No, I just want to say thank you for having me. This is fun. You guys are cool. I love the conversations that we got to have on what it's like to be black in wrestling and what that may look like for the future, as well as predicting what this new WWE regime is going to be, but also talking about my kids. It also helped me recalibrate and remember why it is I do the things that I do, and why I go so hard for my kids. So I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thank you. No problem. And we also want to extend an invitation to you, for a future show. Tell us like how you, the kids, and your future projects. You know, how you doing basically overall. We appreciate your work, and whatever we can do for you or help you, you know, you definitely can use us at your disposal. So just want to put that out there. Yeah, no problem. A-Bit, did you have anything?
Man, you already know. Let me get the wig on. Give me like 5. I'm just joking.
No wig.
No, all right. No, just thank you for educating me on what's going on with Victor. Like, it was great to really be able to sit down and talk to someone who's doing something so special for the community. Please, if you have anything, let us know. Even if it's just like a simple clip, I'm pretty sure Chris will love to cut it up and play it. Yeah. So whatever you have, man, just feel free to always keep the door open. Keep up the good work. I know, like I said, being an educator is a very thankless job. So we appreciate it. Everything that you're doing is spot on and awesome. And I'm glad we were able to have this experience, because I know I was silent, but it was more of me ingesting it all on like the industry, and my space is gaming. I usually do a lot of gaming stuff. So wrestling, I'm jumping back into that. So seeing that, hey, you can start and stop, be casual, be a pro. It feels good to have these conversations with people again.
Okay. Cool. Mr. Red Flash, go ahead.
First of all, I want to give you thank you, man. Like I said, being a fellow New Yorker, I know what it's like out there, and for you to stick with it and learn from it and grow from it is huge. I want everybody to go follow Victor. He has a GoFundMe to help get him and his kids to WrestleMania. I shared it a lot, and I will continue to share it. And I think the wrestling community, and I actually tagged. I started tagging wrestlers into that. I retweeted and I started tagging wrestlers in WWE. But dude, what you're doing for these kids, dude, is remarkable. And like, it needs to be, it's being seen, but it needs to be seen. It's a tough world out there, and it's definitely hard for kids growing up in a world that's so cold, and it's getting colder. And when things are that dark and they don't feel like there's not an outlet or a light at the end of this tunnel, here's professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. And you're giving them that light, you're giving that outlet, and more people need people like you. Like, the world needs more Victors. And by me, what is saying that is just like, it's like you're giving these kids, like, says, I know I'm not supposed to talk religion, but the faith size of a mustard seed, and you're giving these kids an outlet, a hope outside of what they're told that this is your only way out the hole. If you could do these 3 things, if you're not, you're a nerd. Get out of here, you're a geek. You're giving them hope to, hey, you know what? I'm not. I love this. This is special to me. I enjoy it. It makes me happy. And they're not getting a lot of that because it's frowned upon, but you're giving that. So thank you, and keep pushing, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, once again, Victor, it was a pleasure meeting you. It was a pleasure dissecting your wrestling life, your career, what you've done for the community. And once again, Janelle from the Jobberteer, she said that she's going to reach out to you, if she hasn't already, about Jobberteer's 2 house party. I believe it's somewhere in New York. I'm not too sure where, but I'll get the information from her and send it off to you. But the thing is that you are a very powerful figure. You might not realize it, but you are, because like the stuff that you have already done, like you already there. You reached out to WWE officials, WWE superstars. Like it's like you're changing the game for kids for tomorrow, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving the energy, and I would love to work with you. If you want to, use me as like a reference or speaker, whatever, because like I look at those kids and I look at myself when I was their age, and I would love to like do a future project with you or anything of the sort. Like I just, like I said, it's just, this podcast was awesome. I think this was one of my favorite podcasts that I've done in a very long time. So but yeah, blessings to you. We hope to see you again on the podcast, and if you have like need any help or whatever, just reach out. So
I'll have a new wig for you when you come back. I got a new wig for you when you come back.
You don't need your wigs, Joe Biden.
It's President PlayStation. Xbox Biden is somebody else. That's a whole different character.
Told you he is a fool. But yeah, everybody, once again, everybody that has been watching us for 2 hours, thank you so much for joining us. Remember to follow Mr. Victor Taylor Perry on Twitter, and you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, any social media platform.
Change the scroll bar.
All right.
Yeah. You telling people you like follow on social media.
Okay, here you go. Follow Victor Taylor Perry on Twitter as Wildflower Perry.
Yeah. And make sure you guys share the GoFundMe. If you have it, it's Sunday, so 10%, ties an offering. Go ahead.
It's for the kids. It's for the kids.
Until that time, everyone, I'm Mr. Teambringit. That's Mr. 8-Bit. That's Mr. DJ Flags. And that's Mr. Victor Perry. And we'll see you guys next week.
It's better than the Fresh Air Fund. It's better than the Fresh Air Fund.